We're going to talk a lot about partnership, sponsorship today. A lot of the themes you've already heard, I will reiterate. But do I even know what I'm talking about? I know you're thinking, is he going to be talking way over my head about everything about the NFL, and we're not the NFL? I am, well, maybe I know what I'm talking about. I've got a little bit of experience. All of my Panther sponsors seem to be food related, so it's a miracle I'm not 500 pounds. I've got Krispy Kreme, I've got Bojangles, I've got Papa John's, but I also have two kids that swim. They swim for a small team in Charlotte. I have Kieran, who's a senior, at the top of the screen there, and then I've got Rowan, my daughter. She's in 6th grade. She's 12 years old. She's going to be the oldest bronze swimmer in the history of swimming. She's 2 feet taller than any other bronze swimmer. She wins such great awards like most talkative at the recent banquet, so she's a superstar. She says she'll keep swimming next year as long as she doesn't have to do meets. So, okay, all right, however you want to play that, that's fine. But one thing I noticed when we got swimming for New South, it's a smaller team. It's about 80 families, a few more swimmers than that, is that a sponsorship can play a role with the swim team as well. So there's a lot of reasons why swim teams want sponsors. Increased performance, you want better equipment, you want better suits, you want better opportunities, you want money. You need money to travel, you need money for your programs. You want equipment maybe at no cost. You have things that you're currently paying for that you don't want to pay for. And really how I got involved with our swim team was volunteer avoidance. That was the my number one goal. So when we first started swimming, we hosted 2 meets a year, December, which is an A swimmer and above meet. It's a pretty fast meet, and May on Mother's Day. Well, how many swim moms want to volunteer at a swim meet on Mother's Day? Anyone? I don't see any hands raised on that one. So when we have to run hospitality and concessions, we all started out with a list of, here's your family, you go buy these items, 2 12-packs of Coke, and you bring them to the aquatic center and you leave them in the thing. You'll work these hours, you make this breakfast, you bring in bagels, you do all of this. So one of the things I said is there's got to be a better way for this. So I started looking at it, and then when you start looking at sponsorship, you have your goals of why you want sponsors or partners, but sponsors have their goals. What do they want? So Ellen mentioned yesterday, for some people it's a donation, it's a write-off, and that's okay. If somebody just wants to give you $500, they're taking off their taxes, not a problem. Understand why they're doing that. Take that money and make sure they're happy with the money that they've given you. They want to support their kids. Some of them have jobs and their companies can help support because they know their kids are swimming. At SwimMac, one of the guys who runs marketing for Harris Teeter, well, his kids swim, so they sponsor SwimMac. I don't think they're expecting a whole lot of grocery business back out of it. Again, that's how we want to be thinking as teams and as people that are approaching these sponsors. And then for some, it's a sense of community. They want to be involved in youth sports. Ortho Carolina is an orthopedic sports medicine group in Charlotte. Well, they are involved in every youth sports. They know kids may eventually need the service, but they want their name out there all the time. That's their reason. Brand association. When you have such great swimming brands like Tier and Speedo and Arena, they want to be associated with winning teams, fast teams, diverse teams, whatever their reasons. They want to be associated with you. And then return on investment. There are some that do it. They do want their money back. They're looking for payback. So what are we to do if we're a swim team or with the Panthers? We want to provide that return on investment. So for instance, Krispy Kreme, we started out, it was on Mondays after the Panthers win. That was kind of a slow day. Mondays were a slow day for Krispy Kreme. How can we increase sales on Monday? So we came up with a program after the Panthers win. The first year it was buy a dozen, get a dozen for half off. It worked okay. Again, as Ellen said, go back. How did that program work? It was all right. It wasn't great. Well, how can we improve it? So we suggested, well, what if you just did, it was a specific price for 1 dozen. So we started when the Panthers win, it was $3.99 a dozen on Mondays. Well, before you know it, 2015, we have 15 wins out of 16 games. And the CEO of Krispy Kreme's on an investor conference call talking about how that impacted their worldwide sales. So this program only existed in North and South Carolina, and it affected Krispy Kreme's worldwide sales, profit, traffic, everything. They later sold the company for about twice as much as the stock was to JAB, who just bought Panera Bread. So I take a little credit in that. But that's the kind of thing we're thinking about. And then again, for sponsors, volunteer avoidance, I had some friends that owned a barbecue restaurant, Queen City Q. They didn't work with me at the Panthers, but I called them up and said, hey, can you take care of one of our hospitality meals on Saturday night, give us some great barbecue. I know you guys support a lot of youth sports. Again, that was some of the research I had done. And they agreed to help us out. And we'll get a little bit more to their story in a few. So that's really what you're doing next, is you're matching up those reasons why you want sponsors and why sponsors want to sponsor you. So whether it's Alec or Gene Rayburn from the old days, your goal is to really put these things together. So if you start drawing a line, you guys can do this in your head. Who's interested in what? So we already talked about kind of the increased performance, brand association. So tier, if you're a tier team and you have a great meet, what can you do to, you know they want to be associated with that. So tweet your team records, tweet your good things, tag tier in the photos on social media. When you email the kids, or include the tier rep, let him know what's going on. If they wore those fast skins at that meet, let them know what's going on with your team. If it's, return on investment for Queen City Q, they had a 10% offer for people at the meet to come in, and they wanted folks to come into their store. But again, going back to them, how did that work the first few meets? They provided the food for free. It was okay. They had some people come in their store, but their store next to the aquatic center is always very busy. So they kind of said to us, how can you help us get your swimmers and your families to the other stores? Period of back and forth, we came up with a social media contest. And not everything you do is going to work, as evidenced by this example. We said to the kids, hey, we'll give your family a $50 gift card to Queen City Q. Go to Queen City Q, tag them, kind of like this contest you're doing now with Team Unify. Most of the kids are on Instagram, not a lot of them are on Twitter, so we did it on Instagram. Put the hashtag NSS Snakes on it, and we looked 30 days later, there was no posts. It didn't work. Why? All the kids on Instagram, they have private accounts, so you can't see the photos that they posted. But, hey, they appreciated we were trying, we were thinking. We weren't just giving them an ad in the heat sheet. We weren't just mentioning them or talking about them. We were trying something different. And that's what you have to do, is just keep going back and forth till you find something that works for your sponsor. Again, it doesn't matter the size. We've talked about this. Sponsorship, a buddy of mine at the Cowboys said this, sponsorship sales is a research job. It doesn't matter if it's 1 hour a week that you're going to do it, or 50 minutes or 20 minutes before you start making calls, do a little bit of research. When I got hired with the Panthers, the first thing I did is, this was 2005, I've been there 13 years. My first year, I went through all the other teams' websites in the league. What partners did they have? What industries were they in? So everybody had an automobile partner. Everybody had a bank partner. A lot of teams had a travel partner for their fans to go on the road. We didn't have one. So I did a deal with Prime Sport. It was my first deal I did with the Panthers. They're still a sponsor today. They did all of our Super Bowl travel 2 years ago. It was a very lucrative deal for everybody involved, and they're a great customer to be partnered with. But I knew we didn't have one. I looked at 3 or 4 companies that were doing it and approached them all. We worked in a number of assets that they wanted, and again, they've been a partner now for 13 years with us. Who do you spend money with? So when we look, again, Panthers, the thing I did is, who do we spend money with? Office supplies, what are the things you spend money on? What can you get a discount on? What can you get trade for? And what does the sponsor expect in return? If you look at bigger brands or even smaller brands that have articles about what sponsorship they have in your town, there's probably something about why they did the sponsorship with that other team in town, the soccer team. What did they talk about? You can find that information, and then short of that, just ask them. What makes a great sponsorship for you a year from now? What will you look back and say, this was a great sponsorship? And here's where I really want you to really reimagine the fan experience for a swim meet parent or kid. All right? I am the swim dad in the family. My wife stays home. She did find the swim team for my kid to swim on, but I'm the dad who goes to Greensboro, to Georgia Tech, all of those things. I end up being the social director because there's no fan experience for the swim meet parent at a swim meet. There just isn't. I mean, a lot of families, parents, they want to see their kids swim. Some don't care. Some drop their kids in the pool and go do something else. Some are sitting there, they've got nothing to do for 40 minutes between their kids' swims. How can you reimagine that whole entire experience from the time that they drop their kids off for warm-ups I've been to meets where there's playoff games going on in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and we're all outside the hospitality room looking in the window trying to see if the Broncos are going to score. I mean, would it have been possible to arrange with a Best Buy to get a TV somewhere in a room where parents that wanted to watch that could watch that? How much would you think, hey, man, Best Buy just like lent us a TV for the weekend so that parents didn't have to miss their team play in between their kids' swims? I've been to pools that have huge fields next to it. What could you do in that field for parents, kids, to keep them busy while their kids aren't swimming? Food trucks are a great idea. Juice trucks, samples, smoothie places. Get them to come, improve the fan experience for the parent and the kid. That's what they remember. At the Panthers, we've completely changed our fan experience. So we are the complete diametric opposite of some teams in the league. We surveyed all of our fans, and what do you want to see? They want to see no ads. They want to see, and again, I sell sponsorship. This isn't good to hear. They don't want to see sponsor ads, that 30-second commercials on timeouts when they're sitting in the stadium. They don't want to see them at home now on TV. You've seen this now. The NFL's talking about less commercial breaks, all of that. So we said, what can we do? So all of our content on the scoreboard in the stadium, it's all football related, fan related, and it's not about one fan contest. It's about groups of fans, crowd shots, and they're sponsored. Dance for Your Diamonds by Diamonds Direct. But it's about the fan having a great time while they're in the game. We want them to be in their seat cheering as much as possible. We don't want them out at a club, and we don't have a club in our stadium where you can go and just have a DJ instead of watching the game. No, we want you in the bowl rooting for the Panthers. Think about that for a swim meet. You know, there's so many jokes about it. If the last day of my life is how do I spend it, it's going to be a swim meet because it's the longest day of your life, right? I think we can change that. You know, I'm the dad. We'll go in Greensboro. We'll go drop the kids off for warm-ups. We go to 913 Whiskey Bar. We get chicken and waffles, and we have a good time until it's time to go back to swim. There's lots of parents. There's parents who have speakeasies in their minivans. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on in that parking lot. Trust. And I know the mom to go to if I need a beer or a glass of wine, you know, before the finals. So trust me, you can improve your meet experience for everybody involved, and if sponsors are a part of that, the sponsors are going to get the credit, and that's what you want. When you're talking to these people, so Queen City Q, and I say custom proposals only, no gold, silver, bronze, you can have that, just it never gets shown to the customer. You can have a package. It's a gold package, silver package, bronze package. But I think Ellen said this as well. Talk to them. Understand what they want. Delete the 2 things that they don't care about. Add 3 other things. You know, do they want inside access? Do they want, like as Susan said, a big party to network with other sponsors, or network with swim parents? If it's a Northwestern Mutual Financial guy, he'd probably love, you saw that slide before, the shortened tweet, $144,000 average income. Well, that financial guy probably wants access to those parents. And you may not want to give them to him if he's a high-pressure guy, that kind of thing. But if you have a contest where people can drop their business cards in if they're interested at a networking event like that, that's good for him, good for you. Maybe he pays for the party that Susan was talking about. Again, whatever you're selling. So with Queen City Q, it was just the proposal was an email. We need dinner on Saturday for 65 coaches and officials. We'll give you an ad in the heat sheet. We'll mention you on social media. You know, we'll email the parents. And then include any other added value things. Do things over and above the contract or the expected, you know, just because you only have 3 things in the contract doesn't mean you can't give them 4. Yeah, that's all of us at the Greensboro Aquatic Center on the top row when you guys going through all the sponsor announcements, right? It's Charlie Brown's parents. You have no idea. I mean, any adult coming from that thing, if that's what that sounds like, from a fan experience kind of thing, and you're trying to read, you think you're doing a great thing for the sponsors, eat at Jersey Mike's for lunch and go here and do that. That's what most people are hearing. So we've got to get beyond, we're just going to announce you at the swim meet. So the fundamentals, the heat sheet, easy. Again, Queen City Q. I've got nice coffee stains to prove that was real. They've got, again, what they wanted is all their locations. So all their locations are promoted on there. They've got a 10% discount. They support youth sports. It is the best barbecue in Charlotte. There's no doubt about it. The website, again, here, I think they did a nice job here with, it's very clear, the logos of their partners with links to the partners there as well. These are the basic things to do. I know my team does like none of the website stuff. We don't do any of it. And then I thought Star Aquatics did a really good thing. Again, they laid out the case for why you want to go to these restaurants. They are swim friendly. So this was in the heat sheet. They are swim friendly restaurants. If you have 20 people that want to go to Olive Garden, they will take care of you. But beyond that, find out where parents are really going. So like my kid, he doesn't want to go out to eat after a meet. So that's why we go out first. We get to-go food for him, and he wants to go back to the hotel and crash. What are your parents actually doing when they're at the meet? And work with those places. Do they not want to go to chains? Like the other swim parents know I'm a lunatic about, I only want to go to a local restaurant. If I'm in Duncan, South Carolina, I'm going to go to the Italian place there, or the Thai place. I'm not going to a chain. So what are they actually doing? Work those places into it. Again, the hotel is another thing. We never did a good job with the hotel, but if you work with the hotels that you are either currently working with, or if you're not working with the hotel, and you know that, you can email the hotel and say, look, I know we've got 300 swimmers signed up for this event, 150 of them come from out of town, they need hotels, can you give us a rate? If they have a code, they can measure the results of how many people actually book that. Now, let's say you have a pizza partner, Papa John's. Look, Papa John's, we've got a rate with this hotel, we know 40 people are going in there. What is the specific message that you want to give those 40 people that are going to that hotel? You know they have a great lobby. Again, we're the parents who go, the kids go to bed, and we go in the lobby and we have drinks and everything else. I see this all the time at swim meets. There's no sponsor activation from the teams or from the pools or anything that are going after those parents that are in that town, in that hotel. Work your sponsors with the hotel together. Maybe there's an offer they can give you. Papa John's is a great one. That's one of our hospitality things. They have all sorts of codes. They can make a code for you. And again, this may be as simple as calling like a store manager for a Papa John's. They can give you a Magnolia MAC 30 discount code. They can measure exactly how many orders come in on that. So when you hand that, when people go to the hotel, they have a card. Like Jose said, right? Just make a card, give it to them. Ask for forgiveness. Here's the discount code for you to get Papa John's back when you get back in the hotel later on. Papa John's can then measure the return on investment for that. And listen, tell parents who to support. In all my years of swimming, I finally said, look, we need to send an email to all of our parents and say, these are all the people who made sure you didn't have to work hospitality this year. It was Queen City Q, it was Moosehead Grill. Moosehead Grill were just owners of they're owners of this place, their kid swims. They just do it. It's not a whole lot of back and forth, right, on sponsorship. They're more of they want to support their kids. Spend money back with your sponsors. We had 4 banquets before we actually chose a sponsor to cater the food for our banquet. Why are we doing that? Use a sponsor for the food for your banquet at the end of the season. Spend money back with them outside the contract. That's what they're looking for. That's the ROI. Hey, you gave us this free food. We didn't have to work hospitality twice this year, but we got catering from you. We didn't ask for a discount. We didn't do anything. We just used it for our banquet. Again, say thank you to the sponsors any way possible, multiple times. On Twitter. We'll go here next. These guys did a great job. They include the sign of their pizza in the meet thank you for making the meet a success. I did a lot of searching for swim clubs who included sponsors in tweets. I didn't see a lot of them. This is one I found. I think it's a great example. Certainly with a tier or your equipment sponsor, it's very easy and again, it doesn't even have to be a picture of the kid if you don't want to use the pictures of your kid. But again, when you set records, when you have a great meet, you do something, tag something about the sponsor in a tweet. Speedo. There's 3 retweets on this tweet. None of them are from clubs. If you're a Speedo club, retweet Speedo. Again, Twitter, you can't really go super overboard. People just don't see it that often. Like even if you can tweet the same thing 3 times over 5 days, and really only I don't know how many followers I have, but I only have like 300 people actually see one of my tweets, which you can see that data on there. So you're not overloading people on Twitter. Just the way it works. There's so much content on there for most people that are looking at it. You can tweet the same thing multiple times without getting in trouble there.